Rather lads, welcome back to Cossy's Arsenal podcast. My name is Cossy. Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, wherever you are in all parts of the world. Welcome back to the channel. Welcome back to a brand new video. Gonna be diving into the latest around Arsenal. Declan Rice is the big story in this one. Now it looks like three sources, the Mail, the Express, and the Sun, are all saying the same thing, that Arsenal will try to get a shock bid in for Declan Rice, around 75 million euros, and Chelsea are going to be top rivals for us in this deal. Let me dive into this story because I feel like it's a little bit too optimistic to happen, but I don't want to write us off on Declan Rice, and I'll tell you the reason why. Arsenal also looking at themselves as potential suitors for Jude Bellingham, according to The Athletic. However, David Ornstein feels like the summer will be too early for us to make such a profile of a signing. We'll talk about Saka and William Saliba's contracts that have been extended by a year until 2024, and I will explain much about in the video. So hit the like button. Let's get this video to 500 likes. Subscribe to the podcast as well. Follow me on Instagram and Twitter. Right now, all the conversations I'm having about football, all the reactions are happening on Twitter. Cossy Arsenal. Look, if you know how this channel looks like, go on to Twitter, search for Cossy Arsenal, and then you will be able to find me. And the Twitter account actually looks like the YouTube channel. So we will be able to have the conversations, and you'll be able to follow whatever kind of tweet and retweet that I actually make. Now let's get into it. First and foremost, Bukayo Saka's contract and William Saliba's have been extended by a year. Arsenal have done that in Miguel Aziz's contract as well, and Charlie Patino's contract as well. So what Arsenal have done is to trigger the option to extend by a year, just to allow us more time in negotiations, and also to reduce the panic mode that we've actually been in, because these players' contracts have been expiring in 2023. So Bukayo Saka now will not be able to live on a free in the summer. William Saliba as well will not be able to live on a free in the summer as well. I think what Arsenal have done here is, just buying ourselves some time to talk to these players, convince them better, tell them about the projects, the project we are building, tell them more about the amount of money we are giving them and how much we will give them probably in the future. But then also, I think this is not the time to discuss contract situations with players. This time is to add more reinforcements to the side. We're struggling with Mikhail Modric. We're trying to sign Joao Felix. Actually, in the next video, we'll be talking about Joao Felix now becoming a priority for Arsenal. Arsenal focusing on him more than Mikhail Modric. We'll be talking about that in the upcoming video. But what Arsenal have just done here is we've bought ourselves some time. We've just made sure that Saka is not going to live on a free in the summer, and also Saliba doesn't live on a free in the summer. So until 2024, I think Arsenal will have found a solution. Edu, Mikel Arteta, they will have talked to these players, and there is a lot of goodwill, as reported by David Ornstein, the Ghana blog, and The Athletic. There is a lot of goodwill around these deals, that players do understand Mikel Arteta. They love the project. They love what Arsenal are doing, and they're very, very happy to be a part of it. So Saka, Martinelli, and Saliba, those contracts are expected to be signed very, very soon. Gabriel Martinelli is very close to agreeing a long-term deal with Arsenal. Saka is not close, and William Saliba are not close. So that's why Arsenal have decided to trigger the extensions in their contract, the one-year extensions in their contract, just to make sure that we don't have problems come June, July 2023. So I don't know what you think about that. Are we stalling? Are we actually wasting a lot of time on these deals, or they can be dealt with later? In my opinion, as long as Martinelli signs, I think these two can actually be dealt with a little bit later. But of course, I'll keep you updated with whatever comes out of that side. Now, let's talk about Declan Rice. Three big sources, the Sun, the Express, and the Daily Mail, have actually reported about the same story, and they're saying that Arsenal is preparing a huge bid for Declan Rice, and that should actually come in the summer. Now, the Sun I do understand that the Sun broke this story. It was picked up by The Athletic. It was picked up by the Express. It was also picked up by the Daily Mail. And I think this is a story that comes from the fact that Declan Rice will be available in the summer, rather than a story coming from Arsenal really being interested in Declan Rice. But these are the details we have about this story. Number one, he's a priority target for Chelsea Football Club. They tried to sign him in the summer. They offered him a huge contract and huge money to West Ham, money that I believe was up to £90 million. Chelsea turned it down. Sorry, West Ham turned it down. They said, we are not selling. They tried to tie the player down to a long contract, up to 8 years long. But Declan Rice also said, I'm not staying and I'm going to be leaving West Ham very, very soon. The other thing you have to know is that there are also going to be very, very big clubs in the summer trying to sign Declan. He's a top central midfielder. He's a top defensive midfielder. Actually, I think in the Premier League, I've already said this, that apart from the non-English central midfielders, there is no English midfielder right now. There is no English defensive midfielder better than Declan Rice. And even when you add all the all the imports in defensive midfield, Partey, João Palhinha, Casemiro, Rodri, Jorginho, Conte, I think he's already there in the conversation. At that young age, he's already put himself in the conversation of the best defensive midfielders in the Premier League, and he really deserves a huge move. A few people have actually been doing videos about which players deserve a huge transfer after the World Cup, and no one talked about Declan. No one talked about Declan Rice. And in my opinion, I've gone, why is no one talking about Declan Rice? Why is no one recognizing the impact this guy had on England for them to go as far as they did? So big clubs are going to be coming in. I think Liverpool will try. I don't think City will try because they have Rodri and Calvin Phillips. I think Man United could try. I'm not really sure. They do love an Englishman. You can never write them off when it comes to signing an Englishman. But I think Chelsea and maybe Arsenal could be the two big names that we actually listen to or listen from on this, still plus Liverpool. Now, the other thing I also understand is that West Ham are ready to lose him for 70 or 75 million pounds, not euros, million pounds in the summer. They have already resigned to the idea of losing him, and they will be looking for a replacement very, very soon. Now, I think this is going to be quite emotional. For West Ham, they've groomed him and brought him up as a player that's going to be here for ages. I think they looked at him as a new Mark Noble. I'm sorry to say, but Mark Noble again, a long-serving, loyal guy for West Ham. So I think that is what West Ham fans and the West Ham management thought, that Declan is going to be the new Mark Noble. They've put him on penalty duty on a few occasions. They've given him the armband. He's become a leader. He's a force in that dressing room. He's a force in whatever West Ham do, in, on, and off the pitch. So I think they will lose him. I really, really do think they will lose him. They won't keep him. And Chelsea could be the big contenders. Now, will Arsenal bid £75 million for Declan Rice? There is a possibility. Because if you look at all the deals that we are actually doing, they're intentional. All the deals we're doing are actually intended. We are not doing any deals that are coming out of the blue. Everything we do as a club, every deal we do as a club is actually very, very much intended. So 75 million for a player like Declan Rice, I think Arsenal can do that, having paid 50 million for Benjamin White. And then because of the homegrown rule and everything, when you sign Declan Rice, you're actually serving yourself a lot of criticism from the media and all these players. You're actually drawing you're drawing the media in favor of your squad. If you have Saka, Ben White, you have Rob Holding in that team, you have Declan Rice in that team as well. I think that's quite a good number. Plus Aaron Ramsdale. Yeah, that's quite a very, very good number for us to represent England. So will Arsenal make this bid and in January? Can we sign him in January? West Ham are not that crazy. And that's why you've seen Chelsea trying to sign Enzo Fernandez. They know they need a central midfielder. They need a defensive midfielder. But Declan is not available in January. It's out of the question. It's off the table. If they sell him in January, I will have both my hands on my head and I'll go, wow. Absolutely Wow. So I don't think we are going to see any fireworks when it comes to this deal in January. There will be a bidding war. I'm very, very sure of that. And that is why I think Arsenal might not actually sign him, because Arsenal don't like bidding wars. They just drive the prices above ordinary and above sensible levels, right? So the thing that has been actually backed on by all these media outlets is that Mikel Arteta loves Declan Rice. He sees him as a player that will actually fit into his project. Now, I think there's so many central midfielders and defensive midfielders that Mikel can sign for way cheaper. Danilo, half the price, you get him. Ruben Neves, maybe 40 million euros. You get him from Wolverhampton Wanderers. Frank Kessié is another player that has been linked with Arsenal, and Kessié has not actually played a lot of time, a lot of football for Barcelona. So you never know, that could also happen as well. So it's a deal that is really complicated. I will give 70% chance to Chelsea, and maybe 10% chance to Arsenal and 20% to the other clubs. And the reason I've done that is, yes, the player wants UCL, the player would love to stay in London, but I don't think we are there yet. Just like David Ornstein has said in this next story that we're going to be talking about, I don't think Arsenal have reached that level of breaking such deals, okay? It might happen maybe in 2024 when we have, grounded our theory, made it strong. Yeah, maybe. Just maybe. But I'm really, really, really not convinced about this Declan Rice deal. But I won't be surprised if Arsenal go in with a bid. I won't be surprised if Arsenal give Chelsea a little push, just like they're giving us on Mykhailo Modric. Just to give us a little push, just to remind them you're not here alone. If you fail to get the deal done, then we definitely can't do that. Right. So the other player I want us to talk about is Jude Bellingham, the Athletic, and David Ornstein, of course, saying that Arsenal could be a potential destination for Jude Bellingham. The sources claim that the inner people at Arsenal love Jude Bellingham, and they see him as a player who can actually transform the side. Beautiful, absolutely brilliant, right? So I think my young player of the tournament at the World Cup in 2020 was actually not was not Enzo Fernandez. He was also not Julian Alvarez. My young player of the tournament was Jude Bellingham. And the reason as why he was my young player of the tournament is he was given this huge responsibility by Gareth Southgate, and what a performance and what a tournament he actually had. And I feel like if they had gone through probably past France until the final, and maybe if they had won it, Jude Bellingham might have been the breakout star, the young player of the tournament. But because Argentina won it, then Enzo Fernandez also, who really, really deserved it, actually won it. So Arsenal, can they sign Jude Bellingham? This is what the Athletic think, and this is what I think. Number one, the Athletic say that even with a lot of work to improve their project, even with a lot of work on their finances, in the summer will come very, very early for Arsenal to do a deal as big as Jude Bellingham. Okay? That is financially and also in terms of attracting the player, given the fact that Madrid is a front runner, Man United is a front runner, Liverpool is a front runner, and so many other huge clubs are actually waiting for him to put pen to paper. Now, this is what I think about this deal. I think Arsenal admire him. I think Arsenal need to get a quality central midfielder. And like I said, if you could get me Jude Bellingham, if Bellingham is the quality player that Arsenal going to sign, I got no problems with that. That would be huge. That would be absolutely marvelous. But is it going to happen? Number one, the price. In excess of 100 million euros. I don't think Arsenal are going to do that. I think what we're going to do is get 100 million euros and split it across 3 departments. A left centre back, a central midfielder, and a left winger. So maybe Mykhailo Modric signs for 70 or 80. Maybe we are lucky, we get Ivan Dika on a free. and then we get Yuri Tillemans on a free as well. So I'm thinking Arsenal will spend 100 million euros across 4 deals, not on one deal. Is it necessary? I feel it is really, really necessary that you splash the cash. Players like Aurelien Tchouameni, if you're joining Arsenal, what an impact he would have, because what an impact he has had already for France and for Real Madrid last year, in the closing months of last year. So I would love Arsenal to sign Jude Bellingham. I don't see it happen, and I don't want to carry myself away. The price is just ridiculous. Number 2 is, can he choose us over Liverpool and Real Madrid? I'm still not yet convinced. I think Madrid is a big team. Madrid is a huge force. Maybe over Liverpool, because Liverpool are on this kind of declining trend. But still, I feel like he would choose Liverpool and Madrid over Arsenal. But anyway, let me know in the comment section about Jude Bellingham, Declan Rice. What do you think about those two? Should Arsenal commit huge funds to those players, or signing a Yuri Tillemans, a Danilo, or maybe a Ruben Neves could actually do us much better? Hit the like button. Follow me on Twitter. That is where the conversations are happening. It is Cossy Arsenal. Go to Twitter, type Cossy Arsenal, and I'll speak to you right in the next one. People at Facebook, it is Cossy Arsenal Podcast. Yep. See you very, very soon.